Successful individuals consistently engage in practices that unsuccessful people tend to avoid. As Warren Buffett told Bloomberg, everyone lives by their habits. Some habits influence your health or personal life, while others have a direct impact on your finances. Often, people are unaware of their negative financial habits, which repeatedly rob them of the opportunity to build wealth. Warren Buffett believes that you can't get rid of bad money habits, but you can easily replace them with good ones. This is the only way to increase the amount of money in your life. So, if you want to find out more, keep watching this video until the end. This is the main channel on finance. Click the subscribe button now and join the ranks of future millionaires. Warren Buffett is no ordinary billionaire. He's worth about $106 billion, but he lives rather modestly. He still lives in a house he bought for $31,000 in 1957, prefers regular transport to a private business jet, and plays bridge instead of throwing parties. It is this unexpected combination of immense wealth and a simple life that draws the world's interest. Ever since he was a child, Warren Buffett began his journey to becoming considerably rich. At a young age, he was selling Coke, newspapers, magazines, and gum by going door to door to his neighbors. "I like being my own boss, and that's what attracted me to print delivery. I chose my own way, and no one bothered me at 5 or 6 in the morning." He delivered 500 newspapers a day, getting a penny each. Also, one of the planet's top billionaires had also always loved to read. His aunt gave him the World Almanac, which he still has with him, and Warren Buffett reads his first book about investments in his father's office. To this day, he devotes 5 to 6 hours a day to reading. Despite the fact the development of Buffett's business fell on the second half of the 20th century, he continues to be active in the new millennium. Besides, Warren tirelessly monitors trends in the market and willingly shares some valuable advice to help people get on the path to enrichment. When it comes to making money, the most important thing is timing. You don't have to be very smart. You just have to have patience, says Warren Buffett. Many people know Warren Buffett as a guru of the investment world, though in fact, he made most of his fortune following the right financial lifestyle. Warren is rightly called a billionaire who clearly understands the value of every dollar. In this video, I want to draw your attention to the money habits which Buffett actively uses, as he said in his interview. I'm sure some people will let this information slip past their ears, but Warren states that a healthy money habit can easily become the foundation of your wealth, even if your wallet is empty right now. Habit 1. Smart spending at first glance. This habit may seem trivial, but according to statistics, more than 65% of people do not know how to spend money properly. Warren Buffett has said it more than once. People tend to think about where to spend the money they haven't earned yet, says Buffett. In this case, Warren advises to evaluate future purchases, not in money, but in the number of hours you spend earning that money. Ask yourself, how many hours a month do you work, and how much money do you get for it? Calculate how much 1 hour of your work is worth, and compare the calculation to the price of the thing you want. If you make 40 but want to buy a brand new Tesla for at least 40, consider whether it's worth it. Maybe before you start saving up for it, it's better to look for additional sources of income. Also, it's important to note that Buffett encourages people to plan for all income and expenses, no matter how much you earn and spend. The problem with $1 million is that it's a lot of money. You have to keep track of it, or it will just disappear, and you won't even know where, says Buffett. Habit number 2. Only money works. To make some extra money work, rather than just lying in a piggy bank, you need to know how the investment mechanism works. If you just keep your savings, they diminish as inflation reduces their real purchasing power. To prevent this from happening, the money should at least be transferred to a savings account, the interest on which outpaces inflation. But this is not a tool for earning money. To make money, you need to invest it. But to do this, you have to consider different options for investing and figure out how not to lose your savings. You don't have to invest your money in stocks tomorrow. Start by beginning to understand the mechanism of investing itself, states Buffett. Take the time to learn the basics of investing regularly. You can start by watching the news on the topic every day. Instead of scrolling through Facebook or Instagram in the morning, set aside 10 to 20 minutes for some useful reading. Analyze what happens to stocks every day. By the way, the stock returns of American giants like Facebook and Google are 30% a year. Isn't it great that social networks can not only eat up your time, but also bring in a lot of money? Future millionaires. Before I continue, I want to ask you to support this video and give it a thumbs up. After all, your activity can help more people learn about this useful financial information. Habit number 3. Work in unusual conditions. This advice from Buffett may seem rather strange, although the billionaire himself is an avid fan of assessing global market situations while sitting in McDonald's rather than in his office chair. I always associate money with big problems, which in turn need to be solved. To do that, you either always have to be able to look at things from a different angle, says Buffett. A good confirmation of his words is the story connected with Albert Einstein. In 1905, Einstein published 4 scientific papers that changed the foundations of modern physics and our understanding of space, time, and matter. Curiously, he wrote them not in a physics laboratory or his office, but in the Swiss Patent Office. Working in such an environment allowed him not to get hung up on laboratory methods. When your working conditions are different from most people in your field, you can draw unexpected conclusions. Combine ideas from different fields. If you read what everyone else reads, you will think like everyone else. And if you think like everyone else, you will not be able to come up with anything new or unique. Be curious. Seek out obscure sources. Study what no one else has studied. Then your work will be truly valuable to others. Warren Buffett is known for his simple yet profound financial wisdom. He believes that people often spend their money on absolutely stupid and unnecessary things, thus blocking their path to wealth. And by eliminating the following most common financial mistakes, you can dramatically change anyone's life, everything, and finally get rich. The first thing all poor people do is neglect personal development. Buffett believes that the best investment you can make today is to invest in yourself, upgrading your skills, getting a quality education. These are the things that can significantly increase your income. Employers are looking for people with knowledge. Often they do not have time to train. They want to find that person who already knows what to do, and such a person is willing to pay good money. And if you want to be a self-employed person, competence in business and its processes will never be superfluous in creating your own business. Your knowledge and skills are assets that no one can ever take away from you. Try to gather as many of them as you can. Using credit cards is the second mistake that all poor people make. Sure, credit cards can be convenient and useful, especially when there is a desire to buy something and your own funds are not yet sufficient. But the interest rates on credit cards absolutely overshadow any benefits if you forget to pay your debts on time. Just sit down and calculate how much you can actually spend in a year to pay off all your credit card debts. I'm sure you'll be surprised. Warren Buffett recommends cutting out this part of your spending. First, you will stop spending more than you earn. And second, you will save a nice amount of money that you can spend on your education, for example. The next expense of a poor person is the search for the latest technology. New gadgets are always nice. Marketing tricks of the modern world know how to make people want a fresh product. But if you have definitely decided to take the path of enrichment, start to assess your capabilities and the need for a new gadget. It is quite possible that your old gadget is still working perfectly well and does not need to be replaced, so there is no point in spending money on it. Warren Buffett, for example, prefers functional technology. If he sees that the product is practically no different from what he already has, the richest men in the world will not buy it. Visiting bars, restaurants, and pubs. Everybody does it, especially poor people. Spending on eating and drinking out is one of the most problematic areas of a person. If you have decided to become rich, you should forget about this kind of luxury, especially at the stage when you are moving towards financial freedom. Since we are all human beings, socializing and having fun is an important part of our social life. Replace going out with socializing at home. Your emotional well-being won't suffer, but the financial part will be safe. Now it's time to splurge on clothes. Have you noticed how the richest people in the world dress? Most of them prefer simplicity in their wardrobe, including Warren Buffett. This is especially true for those who want to escape poverty. Forget about flashy and expensive brands. You often pay too much just to have a famous name on your t-shirt. These are just clothes. The stores are full of alternatives that are often just as good as the brand names. Unused gym memberships are another expense for the poor person. Did you know that statistically, 80% of those who bought a membership quit the gym? Now, cheap offers from fitness networks are very common. They say that you can buy a season ticket for a year or 6 months at a very attractive price. However, in the end, most people stop going to the gym. It seems like you've saved a lot by buying a cheap membership, but you actually lost money by not using it. Buffett encourages an active lifestyle but warns against this kind of spending. If you are one of those people who has bought a yearly subscription and then stopped going, first, try to work out for free, at home, or in the fresh air. Or consider a monthly subscription that requires you to go to the gym that month. Subscription services are also a poor man's financial mistake. Check and monitor what you subscribe to on a regular basis. Very often, services that offer a bargain require you to provide credit card information so that when the free trial period ends, you are unexpectedly charged. You remember about the subscription only after the transaction. You promise yourself to cancel any auto renewals. Then you forget again, you get charged again, and everything goes in a circle, and you get less and less money that could have gone to good causes. Control your subscriptions. If you got something on sale, set a reminder to disable the renewal at the end of the sale. Better yet, do it a day or two in advance, as some services like to write off money in advance. Buying new cars, according to Warren Buffett, is a serious expense to avoid. Cars are notorious for wearing out quickly. The billionaire recommends looking for used brands and keeping them as long as possible. And don't forget that any car needs constant inspection and repair. If you are planning to make such a serious purchase, think about how you will maintain your car in the future. And before you do, think carefully about whether you need it at all, given your financial situation. It is not uncommon for people to buy such a luxury item because they want to be comfortable, equal to other people. But in fact, their financial situation does not allow for such an expense. The following financial mistakes are the fundamental poverty of many people. Pay close attention to them. But before you do, give this video a thumbs up if you want to achieve impressive financial success. Let that thumbs up be the first but most important step on the road to wealth. And the next mistake is gambling. Although it may seem like a shortcut to increasing wealth, Warren Buffett stresses the importance of understanding the odds of success in gambling. The billionaire encourages people to make financial decisions that will benefit your life in the long run, rather than focusing on short-term wealth options. Many people got burned doing just that. We tend to blow large sums of money hoping to get lucky, and this process can happen over and over again. It is good to be able to stop. But there are also those who get completely caught up in the excitement. Know that a long-term perspective, with thoughtful steps, is much more important than making money here and now. And I won't forget to mention smoking. Yes, this is exactly what takes tons of money out of your pocket and also negatively affects your health. I'm sure you've seen articles about how much you can save by quitting smoking. Not to mention that a simple calculation can show you a figure of thousands of dollars, which can definitely lead to a significant increase in your personal budget. Warren Buffett is known as one of the greatest investors of all time. That means this is the man who knows what you need to do to multiply your capital. It is important to mention that, in addition to practical financial advice, the billionaire emphasizes important human qualities that must be developed if you want to become truly rich. First and foremost, Warren Buffett suggests developing healthy financial habits. Speaking to students, Buffett once said, "Much of our behavior is determined by habit, and it is not for nothing that they say its chains are too light to notice at first, and too heavy to break when you finally notice them. We would all like to break some habits, but the most important one we should acquire is the habit of saving money properly. Don't save what's left over after you've spent it. Spend it after you've saved it, says Warren Buffett. To make this painless for you, it's best to set up an automatic deduction of a small amount from each of your paychecks and use programs that show you the percentage of your monthly spending on different product categories. Never lose money. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. It's a strange recommendation after all. There's hardly anyone who thinks losing money is a good idea. But it is not that simple. It is very wise and practical advice to avoid risk as much as possible. To be successful and live happily, never risk what you need for what you want, says the billionaire. Warren Buffett himself followed this rule and never made risky investments. He said, "The difference between successful people and the truly successful is that the truly successful say no to almost everything. Don't keep all your money in an account. Keep some in cash." Another unexpected suggestion. Considering that Buffett's fortune is estimated to be $115 billion as of 2023, his company Berkshire Hathaway always has about $20 billion in cash, ready to be given away at any time. This seems unreasonable and goes against the general principle of financiers to invest money and not keep it under the pillow. And he loses a lot if that money isn't invested in some project and doesn't make a profit. But that's what saved Warren's company during the 2008 crisis. As Buffett says, cash to a business is like oxygen to the body. You never think about it when you have it, and you only think about it when you don't have it. Dollars are somehow more trustworthy than checks. It's especially important for those with inconsistent income to follow this rule. Borrow wisely. Buffett warns against taking on unnecessary debt. Credit cards, installment loans, mortgages, all will lead to the day when your loan payments exceed your expenses, and there will be no turning back. I have seen many people fail because of alcohol, but I've also seen just as many people go bankrupt because of an excessive craving for credit. If you're smart, you can make money without credit. Pay attention to small expenses. Buffett always pays attention to small expenses and trusts only frugal people. For example, he bought a company whose owner counted rolls of toilet paper to see if he was being cheated. The most interesting case that reflects the billionaire's attention to small expenses took place in China. There, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates decided to go to the local McDonald's for a snack. Buffett insisted on paying the bill himself. To everyone's surprise, he pulled out discount coupons he had brought with him from America to partially pay for the meal and save money. Think in terms of a decade, not a month. Most people make the same mistake of trying to make the most of the present moment. Don't chase the quick bob. Concentrate on building your strength and confidence gradually over a lifetime. Warren Buffett advised. Successful investing requires time, discipline, and patience. It doesn't matter how talented you are or how hard you work. Some things just take time. You can have a baby in a month by impregnating 9 women, Buffett said. Think in terms of decades, gradually accumulating the sums needed for your children's education or your retirement. Read all you can about finances. Go to bed at night smarter than you woke up in the morning. Buffett said, "A big part of my job as an investor is to minimize risk and cut costs." And what is the risk to an average person, not a financier? It's when you don't know what you're doing. The more you learn about money and the laws of money, the greater your financial literacy. The better you can manage your money and know how to make the most of it. No matter how much you have, money isn't everything. Some material things have made my life happier, but if you get a lot of them, it will do the opposite. Warren Buffett once said, "The billionaire says he wouldn't give up a plane, but half a dozen houses is a problem." In his opinion, it often happens that a large number of possessions begin to own the owner himself. Therefore, do not forget about other, no less important values. For example, health. Without it, success is impossible. According to Buffett, the same is true for friends. The billionaire considers his friends to be the most important thing after health. Be brave. In 1951, when Warren Buffett was not even 21 years old, he took a train to Washington, D.C., and knocked on the door of the headquarters of Geico Insurance Company. where Benjamin Graham, his future mentor, worked. Buffett's bold appearance in Graham's office led to Graham giving the young man a 4-hour lecture on the insurance industry. Graham would go on to become the CEO of Geico, and Buffett would remain associated with the company for years to come. Today, Berkshire owns Geico, and Berkshire's insurance interests are what Buffett calls one of the company's crown jewels. If Buffett hadn't dared to show up at Geico that day 72 years ago, none of this would have happened. But boldness pays off. Make tough decisions. Initially, Berkshire Hathaway's primary market was textile mills. Buffett supported them for many years. But in 1985, he sold the mills because the business was no longer profitable. It was a difficult decision for Warren, but one that was important for future success. These situations are common in life. For example, it is more profitable to give up an expensive vacation and invest in a retirement fund. The road to financial success for every rich person is paved before they go to sleep. Virtually all poor people will not do this. It is about planning. Every night before you go to bed, write down a list of the most important things that need to be done in the morning to get closer to your desired heights. Every evening, analyze the way you have done for the day. Draw conclusions. Adjust your directions. Before going to bed, jot down your tasks. By morning, both your mind and your notes will hold a clear roadmap, a ready-made plan. Following it diligently will put you on the path to unshakable success. This is your go-to channel for financial insights. Subscribe and start building your wealth.